Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Dark Souls. At the end of the last episode, I said that we would be resuming in Sen's Fortress, and the astute among you will notice that this is not the case. This is not Sen's Fortress, far from it. However, I realized that with our build, a bleed weapon and some fire, it made far more sense for me to come here and grab the Peculiar Doll so that when we were in Anor Londo, we could access the painted world and the bosses and challenges, items, whatever we may choose to do with that zone. So we've come here first, and you can tell I haven't stopped because our Firekeeper in Firelink Shrine has died by the fact I don't have enough souls. Spellcasts, there we go. Goodness me, imagine getting your terminology right. So, what we're going to do is we are going to sit. We are going to kindle this bonfire. Probably not to plus 20, but we'll, we'll drop to plus 15 maybe. It's probably a bit overkill, but I'm not running short on humanity right now, so as long as I have 4 for the one before Smo and Ornstein, I will be pretty happy. But yes, this boss down here is a bit of a pushover to Katanas. We're going to see how much damage he takes from fire. I am going to use my spells first, because this is a pyromancy playthrough. We'll fall back to my weapon if and when it is required, and I think I'm pretty happy with our spell choices right now, but we might change them, we might play around with those, depending on how well the boss fight does go. Gonna save my spell casts here. And then take the plunge. Oh, we even managed to get the roll this time, that's nice. Now what's he gonna do, big swing? Okay, big swing, lovely. So the important thing with this boss, as far as mechanics go, is to stay behind him. Am I too close? No. If you stay behind him, he'll avoid doing this attack he's about to do. And you can see why we'd want him to avoid doing that, right? So, I think... It might be too soon to tell, but I think what I learned from that is that we want as many hard-hitting spells as possible rather than lots of little casts, because the cast time is simply very slow. And we want to keep ourselves moving, we want to keep positioning ourselves behind the... Is it Stray Demon, I think it's called? Yeah, it's the Stray Demon. Because the other one's the Fire Sage, right? Okay, that was a very poor landing. That could have gone horribly for us. Okay, he's going to jump. That's nice. That gives us a window. But we do have to be a little bit careful to stay behind him here, because otherwise he'll do that damn side slam. Oh, God. Okay, well, he was kind enough to let me out of the corner. But this is not a great position for us at all. Okay, so we can survive a hit from that. Everything this dude does is more dangerous from the front, basically. Okay, well, that was my fault. And the reason that was my fault is I didn't pull him out the corner, basically. I could never comfortably get behind him because he always had his back to a wall, is sort of what I'm getting at here. Whereas, like, getting behind him is a must. This would be a lot simpler if I was just going in with a katana, but, you know, this isn't a katana build. This is a pyromancy build with a katana as a supplementary weapon. Because there is a, you know, a pyromancy weapon that you can make out of a katana later on. But, like, the katana is not the main focus, so I will try not to use it as such. Although, if the boss pisses me off, yeah. I make no promises that we won't just whack it with a katana. Okay. Honestly, we are not doing... I think I'm safer just to... I was not safer just to sprint. Okay. Good to know. Alright, let's give it another go. And if it goes horribly wrong, we're going to queue up that montage music. Oh, fuck off. I'm going to try and bait a jumping attack, but, like, this is risky. Oh, I managed it. We got the bait on the jumping attack. My understanding of his mechanics are clearly not as poor as I've led you all to believe. Ha ha. Think we can get 2? Okay, he's looping into this. Ideally, you will get this boss stuck in a loop. Like... Alright, and now for the bit of the fight which is much more like fighting with a katana. Go in, wait for the explosion to dissipate, go back out. And yeah, he's looped at this point. He is well and truly looped. We've stayed behind him long enough for him to get stuck in this mechanical pattern. Essentially, you make this guy think he ate way too much curry and set fire to his asshole. And that should be the fight win. We are going to run out of spells because I chose a few heavy hitters rather than lots of long cast time medium hits, but that's what we have the sword for. Alright, there we go. 4 or 5 attempts on how not to do the Stray Demon, and 1 attempt where I more or less executed what I was after. So, with the Stray Demon dead, we will pick up our pride off the floor. And we will make our way over here to the ladder. Since our imprisonment and eventual liberation from the asylum, some new residents have taken up home here. They're not much for changing the interior decor, but... Oh, look at them bare hand parries. Look at them bare hand parries. The sword variant of the Black Knight is very easy to parry. They're not all that impressive, but there's always something about punching a blade aside with your bare hand that feels very satisfying, feels very powerful. Alright, we picked up the Peculiar Doll. Now, it's interesting, I mean, everyone has seen this before, but I'm gonna take a look at it as well in key items. There was once an abomination with no place in this world. She clutched this doll tightly and eventually was drawn into a cold and lonely painted world. We'll talk more about why that was a little bit important perhaps later, but I mean, I guess with the name Crossbreed, right, you can see why they would refer to Priscilla as an abomination. But there are some other interesting things about the painted world that kind of tie into that a little bit more, and we'll talk about those a bit later in the playthrough, if I remember. Alright, so we're gonna sit down, we're gonna recharge our spells, and I mean, is there much point in recharging our spells? Not really, because these guys are incredibly fire resistant. But there are a couple of enemies that aren't. Oh, right in the dick. Let's go. Oh, perfect. Yeah, the reason I'm not using stuff on these guys, and I'm hoping he'll be kind enough to drop his shield. Okay, he wasn't. Do I have any Black Knight equipment in the, like maybe a Black Knight shield that dropped earlier? No. The Black Knight set is about, if I remember correctly, 80% resistance to fire. At very least the shield is. However, poor Oscar is not immune to fire, he's not immune to lava, and so we are going to barbecue him. Barbecued Oscar goes great with mustard. I feel bad about that, but I don't at the same time. Oh, I forgot the trap reset! And I was recording. Bollocks! Always do that. Never make that mistake the first time through. Always forget about it on the second visitation. Now, with these 23,000 souls, we have a couple of options for things we can do. We can put them into levels, we can put them into upgrading our pyromancy hand. However, I think... combustion. That we are probably... Did I get the key? I think I got the key. I think I got that, like, when I... Yeah. No, that's right. I started recording just before we came here and made a bunch of theatre jokes about pretending to be an egg. But unfortunately my dryer that was doing the laundry was messing with my mic quality, so, you know, I had to delay the recording. Not the end of the world, but it does mean that you guys missed out on me picking up the key. I know, however, will you forgive me? Anywho, as we make our way back down this corridor, we are going to talk a little bit more about what I plan to do with these souls. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to Quilana again, take a quick trip to Blighttown. I'm going to save myself on the parish bonfire once we get out of here. And then I will resume the recording in Sen's Fortress. I'll see you guys there. And before us the gates to Sen's Fortress lie open. I have purchased another couple of pyromancies, but, well, long story short, we're not going to use them for a little while. They would give us a little bit more in the way of spell casts. But the thing is, everything here is quite tanky. We'll see. Once I've, like, kind of worked out how I want to go through this. Because we won't be speedrunning it at least the first time, which is my go-to. Alright, let's see. Runs through lava, 17. Wait, shields block lava damage? That's some kind of bullshit. Okay, these guys have some good physical resist. Nice to know. We might need a couple more spells. Because we are going to be doing a decent chunk of things in Sen's Fortress today. The first of which, however, is we are going to get to the top and unlock the shortcut. We will worry about everything else once we have achieved that. So, we're going to hurl a fireball at this guy. And he is going to try and leap through the lava. You know, I would have thought that leaping over a pile of lava would be more successful than walking through it with a shield raised, but according to Dark Souls, that is not the case. Oh my god. One hit bled us. We'll just pop this right now so that I don't have to worry about it. And in this chest, we shall grab the large Titanite shards. Oh yes. Now, normally... Actually, we can do that here. Why not? Again, we won't be able to free Logan, but I like showing this off just in case somebody is new to Dark Souls and hasn't seen it before. Instead of rolling the ball down the hill, you can get them to line up that nice heavy attack there, and you'll be okay. I could really use a second Pyromancy hand. Like, actually grabbing a second Pyromancy hand would be super... Do I have one already? Because, like, didn't Laurentius give us one? I shall have to work out what to do, but getting a second Pyromancy Flame so I can cast with both my offhand and my sword out and my main hand would be pretty super duper. I mean, the reason it's in my offhand right now is that I don't have anything in my offhand. So I think we'll keep it there. But I might need to purchase myself a Pyromancy Flame. We'll look into doing that between episodes, however, it is not particularly relevant now. So, some twerp of a giant is rolling boulders down a hill. It's like 10-pin bowling, but there's one pin and it's me. 10-pin bowling sounds very interesting comparatively. Should have thought about your own trap mechanisms. We're gonna go up here, we're gonna pick up the Ring of Steel Protection. Useful item, though not really for us. We're not going to be going for a super tanky build. And honestly, there are normally better things to use, but, you know, sometimes a bit of steel protection is what you need to avoid unwanted accidents.
Oh, forgive me. I was absorbed in thought. I am Siegmeyer of Katarina. Quite honestly, I've run flat up against a wall. Or a ball, to be precise. I'm afraid I'm a bit too plump to be outrunning those things. So here I sit in quite a pickle, weighing my options, so to speak. Perhaps I could try some rolling. Bah, no chance. My head would spin.
Well, while you ponder that, Siegmeyer, you brave, misguided rascal, you, I am gonna go and solve the problem for you. How does that sound? We'll take this nice and slow. I don't fancy getting hit by a giant boulder in one shot, because we do not have a particularly large amount of HP. And through the fog gate we go. I always like to try and do this. But on this occasion, I actually just got myself... So the idea is that you jump over, or you bang on the wall to create a distraction. Anyway, that didn't quite work out. So we're going to have to run back there. And we are back. We have resumed the point with this snake, and I am going to barbecue his bottom. Right, there you go. That'll teach him. A nicely barbecued behind. So, am I going to get crushed for doing this? I think I might. No, I think I'm good. I'm good. Alright, there are a couple of things in Sen's Fortress that we need to get. The first is the Gold Covetous Ring. That'll help us farm humanities and whatnot to level our Pyromancy Covenant. So we're going to wait for that hole to fill up. And while we do that, we're going to go and have a word with this rat bastard of a Mimic. Mimicry ahead indeed. The next one will break down that wall there. And we can just take a nice little run in behind. Grab that, and I think we should now be able to make our way back into here and up. This was one of the, this trap here. The elevator that stops twice. And if you don't get off here, will impale you with the spikes on the ceiling. Was one of the, like, first moments where I, as a gamer, started appreciating... As a gamer, yes. Well, just, I started appreciating context clues a little bit more. Like, the fact that there is blood there, you know, gives away the fact that something isn't quite right. And I just wasn't ready to appreciate that when I first picked up Dark Souls and kept blundering into mistakes without looking at things, and that has since changed. One roll, I think regardless of speed, will carry you past that trap. And then, of course, you just want to wait for the gap. And either run straight through, or, well, there are a couple of options. Running straight through is probably the easiest. Alright, we barbecued that one, but that does mean that we are now under some pressure. But that snake was kind enough to walk into all the AoE of our projectiles. However, we are now out of spells, so we're going to have to go melee for the rest of this. I'm going to put some more attunement slots in as soon as possible, but because this isn't mana-based like the later games, you know, sometimes you do just have to accept that there is a limitation to the amount of things you can cast. And that's why we have the +7 katana in the works now, rather than waiting until we get to Anor Londo and can begin transcending weapons to boss tier. A quick run up these stairs will carry us through. And then I think if I stop here... Oh, just. Alright, we are through the fog and to the top of Sen's Fortress. However, we are not done with Sen's Fortress. Oh no. There is lots more still to do. Alright, so the first order of business is taking out that damned giant. Now, he shouldn't be too hard to take out. Normally what you wait for him to do is throw a temper tantrum and barbecue him, if you're a pyromancer, or unleash your damage at him while he takes a small mid-battle nap. However, we do have to be careful because we don't have a lot of health, and that can sometimes work against us. You know, that corridor down there, that one behind this boulder knight, has always been one, or was always one, that confused me when I started, because when I came down here for the first time, I encountered Le Vagrant. For those of you who haven't encountered Vagrants, they're essentially a small crab with one really large pincer and some stuff sticking out of them. They're not particularly common. They were more common if you played online, which I didn't a lot. But they were spawned by I believe, an excess of humanity. And on my very first playthrough, when I was playing online, I did encounter one. And I spent God knows how long looking for them on other playthroughs. Like, oh God. Right, okay. This wasn't what I wanted, but that's alright. We'll make do. Yeah, I spent God knows how long looking for it on my initial playthrough, getting more and more confused until I did some looking up and realized that it wouldn't spawn every playthrough. It was not an enemy that would be there. But it's one of those things about random spawns, right? You don't realize that they are random the first time that you see them, if it's on your first playthrough. You know, if you're on playthrough 3 or 4 and that's the first time you see it, it's alright, it's not too bad, but on your very first playthrough, seeing something kind of sets the expectation that you'll see it again. Unless it's very clearly marked as something that happens infrequently, which the Vagrant just kind of being there wasn't. At least not to Ikelvada. So, we're gonna pop up these stairs here. Hello, Mr. Giant. Hello, hello. Yes, I'm so happy to see you. Don't get angry now, whatever you do. I said, don't get angry now. No, no. No, listen. Doesn't listen, does he? And there we have it. We are now safe from these giant, although admittedly extremely easily destroyed, firebombs. Got ourselves a Titanite chunk there, not that we'll be needing it. So, we've used all of our spells, which means we're not going to go and do the boss now. And what we're going to do now is we are going to pick up the shortcut. A roll should just take us over nicely. We have to be a little bit careful when we go to pick up this shortcut, because as has already been proven, need a bloody mind the gap sign there. As has already been proven, those snakes with the curved blades, I can't remember what they're called, will absolutely do a number on us. There we go. I'm not sure why my train of thought died so hard there, but it did. Yes, but they will do a number on us. They will one-shot us. They will instant bleed us. And we do not want to be on the other side of that. Now, we are fairly light, so I think I must just have hit the jump button a tad early, and it looks like that was indeed the case. Over on the right, there is a merchant, bit of a dour fellow. He'll sell you some large Titanite bits and bobs. Not too bad, you know, if you've got more than one weapon you want to upgrade or more than one piece of gear. But, you know, we don't. So, that's not something that I am going to be spending my souls on. We have dire need of attunement. Alright, well, if the snake never gets to me, that's fine. We can just call that a day. Yeah, we have dire need of attunement, because I want to move away, even though I'm going to make the, you know, the weapon of the Pyromancer, or the Great Flame Witch, or whatever. Chaos Witch Quelaag, or whatever her name is. I do want to use as many spells as possible. I'm not inclined to keep using the sword as much as I am doing. Now at this point, what we're going to do is we are going to take a break from... Actually, no, we're not. I was going to say we're going to take a break from the top half of Sen's Fortress, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to drop down here, we're going to spend our souls, and then we're going to go and take out the Iron Golem. And once we've done that off camera, I will go and farm the demons, the Wandering Demons, the Titanite Demons, whatever they're called, down at the bottom of Sen's Fortress, which was another reason that we went into the Painted World that I forgot to mention. Not the Painted World, the Asylum. We wanted the key to the Painted World, and we wanted the Rusted Iron Ring so that I could run in that sludge at the bottom there and get as much Demon Titanite as possible so that when we pick up the Chaos Blade, we can make proper usage of it. Although it would help if I unlocked the shortcut. So, we're going to go for a quick trip down. Cue your favourite elevator music. I've always been partial to raindrops keep falling on my head. But that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Anyway, I've tortured you enough with my singing. We're going to pop back up here. We're going to take a little jaunt up to the boss. And we're going to go and have a word with the Iron Golem. Now, the Iron Golem is very physically resistant. So, if we run out of spells, which we might, we are going to be making use of some of the drops provided to us earlier in the game, just to try and speed things along a little bit. You'll notice I'm not using my spells on any of the chaff this time round, when we do bump into it, because I want to preserve as many casts as possible for the boss. And with that, let us undertake the final trial of Sen's Fortress, at least from a lore perspective, and attempt to gain access to the great city of Anor Londo. Hello, big guy. Would you like a fireball to the nuts? Apparently he would. And that comes in at around 266 damage, which isn't too bad. Now, staying behind him is a good way of avoiding a lot of damage. Oh, we rolled that perfectly. I was really scared I was going to get grabbed. However, if you stay behind him like that, you know, he will turn around and try and grab you, and that can be just a wee bit problematic. Alright, I mean, like, we did, what, just under half damage with our weaker fireball. So as long as... Okay, it actually does exactly the same amount of damage. Which means either the spell does the same amount of damage and it's the lava effect that ticks over the extra, or his resistances are just, I don't know, better against Chaos Fireballs. Although I don't think there's technically a difference in how they're coded, is there? Oh! I didn't roll on time! Defeated! The Iron Golem 1, Varda 0. It has been a very long time since I died to the Iron Golem, but that's quite alright. Reminds you that you still have to execute properly for things to go your way in Dark Souls, and that's a healthy reminder every now and again. But jeez, did he have to hit my head that hard with that axe? Bad Iron Golem, bad. We're going to come up and have another word with him in just a moment here once we traverse this this walkway. So, I mean, honestly, there isn't much to analyze. I just didn't roll correctly twice in a row. That's pretty much all player error. However, we did manage to get quite a lot of damage down. The one thing I might try and change is I might try and get the fireballs to connect with his feet. The Great Chaos Fireballs, because that might allow me to get the lava spawn, which didn't seem to be happening when, you know, we were up in the midair, hitting him in the midriff. I can't say for certain whether or not that'll make a difference. Oh, he went for the double swing. Luckily for me, we were out of range of both. And we're going to roll backwards from the grab. throw another fireball here. He's being very generous and accommodating with the windows that he is providing us with, so I won't say no. Okay, yeah, that does spawn the lava. I missed that cast on purpose. But that means that in order to get the next one off, I'm going to have to make sure that the attack misses by standing between his legs, and then basically cast it point blank into his feet. Oh, we got the stagger, so I don't need to worry too much. Oh, we got the next one. Can we knock him off the edge, actually? Like, can we force the full stagger? Well, it doesn't matter if we can force the full stagger, because there we can force the kill. I'd never noticed before that... Well, I guess because I haven't done pyromancy in a while. That the lava didn't spawn if you hit it in the air, and you'd get more damage out of it. So that's worth noting. Like, against the bigger creatures, you want to kind of get in real close, not necessarily lock on and just lob the fireball into their feet, so you get the lava spawn for extra damage. Alright, next episode, we will take on Anor Londo. But for now, I have a meeting with some Titanite demons I need to keep. So, I'll see you all in the next one. thank you very much for watching. And if you enjoyed the video, do hit that like button. It helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. Good night.